Hello, lovely souls. I'm Jess, mom, daughter, company VP, and integrator. I lead teams, build systems, and hold a lot together behind the scenes. If you're the one holding it all together, this is where you get to exhale. This is the lovely life, a space to pause, breathe, and come back to yourself. Together, we'll explore what it means to lead with heart, to build systems that protect your peace, and to dream big while living fully in the now. You don't have to do more to be enough. Let's begin. Ever feel like rest is something you have to earn? Like if you're not moving a ball forward, you're somehow falling behind. For a long time, I believed that my worth was tied to how useful I was. In today's episode, we're talking about the hidden weight of always needing to be useful. The way so many of us link our value to what we produce, how much we give, or how much we hold it all together. We'll dig into where that belief comes from, why it's so hard to shake, and what it actually costs us in leadership, in life, and in rest. I'll share a personal story of burnout from my previous career, the turning point that came with it, and how I began to see rest not as a reward, but as a practice of worth in itself. So let's start off right at the heart of it. The urge to be useful, because that belief shaped so much of how I live, led, and even how I measured myself for years. For a long time, I believed that my worth was tied to how useful I was. If I wasn't moving a ball forward or helping someone, knocking things off of my list, what was I even here for? The belief running in the background was simple. Being useful equals being needed equals being valued. So I avoided rest, or I tried to earn it by checking all the boxes first. And even then, the guilt still crept in because rest didn't feel safe. It felt selfish, lazy, like everyone would realize that they didn't actually need me after all. And I think this started when I was young. Both of my parents were incredibly hard workers. They were praised for it, and I respected it. But I didn't see the invisible weight that they carried outside of work and parenting. As a kid, I absorbed this belief that hard work equals goodness, productivity equals praise. And fast forward into my career, I became the go-to, the reliable one, the one that could do everything and would do everything. And of course, I was praised for it. Until one day, I wasn't. A typical day at that particular job looked like 10 different roles crammed into one. I was answering phones for homeowners, fielding questions from internal team, drafting contracts, negotiating fees, responding to guests. I was in the office one minute and out at homes in the field in the next, replacing air filters, fixing door handles, even cleaning hot tubs when no one else could. So some of those roles technically had team members, and others I was told that we would hire for. But the truth was there was never an intent to hire. By the end, they had laid off my entire office staff. It was just me, a lead cleaner, and the cleaning team. And I fully believed that part of the decision-making process there was I was handling it. So why wouldn't they? And I thought it was fun. I would just shoulder it all. Owner relations, guest relations, managing the local portfolio, still doing maintenance out in the field. I believed that I could turn it all around on sheer willpower. But here's the truth. I wasn't trained and I wasn't supported. And the harder I worked, the more invisible I felt. My effort didn't inspire leadership to invest more into our branch. It just made life easier for the people above me. As long as I was willing to bleed for the work, no one questioned it. No one cared what it was costing me. And it was costing me everything. My body was breaking down. The stress and overdoing it manifested into chronic back pain. I was already dealing with back issues. Anatomically, I have things wrong, but this really emphasized everything. And then migraines, tension headaches. I ended up on medication for anxiety and depression. I felt disconnected from my family and friends. Even when I was out, even though I was never really out, I carried two phones like handcuffs, one personal, one professional, because even if I left my work phone at home, I knew they would find me on my other one. Looking back, what kept me there wasn't just the workload, it was pride. I had a fear of failure. It was this deep down belief that if I could just prove myself useful enough, then maybe I'd be seen as valuable. And the truth, I could do everything, and I did, but it was killing me. And that's the hidden trap of usefulness. You think it's a badge of honor, but really, it's a weight that drags you under. And eventually you have to ask, is my worth really tied to what I can carry, fix, or hold together? Or is there another way? I hit my physical limit. I couldn't walk without pain. I could barely walk. I was still pushing through, still doing everything. And I finally said to my manager verbatim, I'm drowning. I need help. Doing this by myself is killing me. And her response, again, and I quote, I'd rather see you drown and get it done. That broke something in me. Because if someone told me that they were drowning, I'd do everything in my power to help. But no one was doing that for me. And that was a turning point. I realized that being needed doesn't mean being valued. Burnout isn't just being tired. It's chronic stress without support. The World Health Organization defines it as emotional exhaustion, mental distance from your work, and decreased performance. And according to a 2021 McKinsey and LeanIn.org study, 42% of women said that they were often or almost always burned out compared to 35% of men. Probably because we're not just working, we're holding everything. We're managing households, logistics, relationships, and emotional labor. In fact, 65% of working moms are still primarily responsible for the household, even when both partners are working full-time. We're often managers without a team. And when you live like that for too long, you start believing that rest is dangerous. Just the other week, I tried something that was kind of radical in my opinion. My day was packed from the moment that I picked up my phone that morning. Back-to-back meetings, nonstop to-do list. I told the team, I need to step away for 1 hour, and then I'll check back in. I set a timer on my phone, put it on Do Not Disturb, and sat down. 20 minutes in, I grabbed my phone because I was convinced that the timer must be done. Nope, only 20 minutes. I made it 45 before I jumped back in. But here's the lesson. Rest isn't easy when you're wired to always be needed. It feels foreign, uncomfortable, like something must be wrong. Back at the old job where my manager told me she'd rather see me drown, I had taken my birthday off, told everyone, left my work phone at home, and what happened? A senior leader called my personal cell phone during dinner with friends because she didn't want to deal with an issue. In the moment, it felt validating, like, wow, even senior leadership needs me. But looking back, I see it for what it was. She didn't value me. She valued the ease of pulling me in instead of leading this herself. And I let my time, my boundaries, my celebration be interrupted. And that was a wake-up call. Even now, I notice I minimize rest. Like when I'm sitting at home with my family, my brain says, we're just hanging out. I'm not really doing anything. So I might as well check my emails or grab my computer. And I tell myself that I'm still physically present. But later, I regret it because even when nothing is happening, we're being together and that matters. Being is enough. So how do I practice rest when it doesn't come naturally? Here are a few tools that have helped me. Adjusting notifications. I group notifications and focus settings so that only urgent messages from certain people can come through at certain times. Everything else waits. Protecting my mental energy protects my presence. Another one is a quick tidy. So if I go straight from work to rest, I carry that clutter in my mind. But if I take 10 minutes to close my laptop, tidy my space, clear the counters, my body registers that shift. I move from doing mode into resting mode. I've also come across some mantras that help me reframe the guilt that I often have to repeat to myself. Like, you can do anything, but you can't do everything. And also, you can't pour from an empty cup. I know that one's cliche, but it's very true. They remind me that rest is part of the work. Another important one is time blocking. I group most of my meetings midweek so that Mondays and Fridays are a little bit lighter. It creates natural pockets for me to rest, reflect, and just have some breathing room. Go outside, sit, notice. Nature really recalibrates me. The sound of the birds, the way the wind moves the trees, it grounds me and it reminds me that the world's still moving even when I pause. And personally, that can be a hard pill to swallow. Stillness isn't doing nothing, it's making space to notice what's been there all along. Ideas surface I was too busy to hear. Problems unravel that didn't have space to breathe. And I feel more alive, not less. My creativity deepens, my leadership roots itself, my relationships grow richer. When I'm not doing everything, I finally get to see everything. So here's where I want to leave you today. If you ever felt like rest is something that you have to earn, or that your value is tied to being useful, give yourself 10 minutes today. Not tomorrow, not when you've checked everything off, but today, where you don't do anything that you deem useful. No laundry, no email, no multitasking. Just sit, breathe, sip your coffee, slowly stare out the window. Let it feel uncomfortable if it does. But then notice what comes up. Do you feel guilt, restlessness, relief? Write it down, because those feelings are clues to how deeply this belief is wired in you. Rest is not a prize that you get at the end of proving yourself. Rest is the fuel that allows you to show up as the leader, the parent, the partner, the human that you actually want to be. Your worth was never in how much you carried. It was always in who you are when you finally sit it down. So let me leave you with this. Where did your beliefs about worth and work begin? When you slow down, what feelings come up for you? Are you carrying everything because you have to, or because you're afraid of what happens when you don't? And most importantly, what could grow if you let go? You don't have to earn your rest. You don't have to drown to prove your value. You don't have to be useful to be worthy. You already are. Welcome to the lovely life.